Howdy folks, my name is Apko, and welcome back to Let's Play Super Mario 64, part number 11. We're going to be quickly moving in this part to course number 8 here, Shifting Sandland. We've got star number 1 in the Talons of the Big Bird. Like, from Sesame Street? No, he's a lot less yellow looking than that guy, thankfully. And a lot less copyright infringing as well. Because he is I'm not entirely sure that this desert bird is a Nintendo IP that gets reused in any place, but there he is, holding our star in the clutches of his talons, indeed. Can we collect it before the 60-second mark? Maybe. Maybe. After I cut out my little 10-second waiting period, perhaps we have gotten the first star in less than 60 seconds. Good stuff. I was being too quick before, but I wanted to mention that the entrance to this world is actually in the wall, like one of the toads mentioned before. I just think that's pretty cool that one of the toads actually tells you how to find it. So, shining atop the pyramid. You may have actually seen this star on our path through here before, so grabbing this box is actually kind of tricky. I want to grab it with a little more intent this time. So, you gotta do it at an angle. And the whole point is to make it over that hump in the sand dune there. By doing so, makes your trip a lot easier here. Oh, wow, that tornado is not going to give me enough height to quite get to the star atop the pyramid that is our goal. However, there is a wing cap box here, which, I'm not 100% sure that this will give me enough height either, but it will save me some levels of scaling the pyramid. You know what, why not? It's a little helpful, it's not entirely useful. But, ooh, I will take fringe uses like that. You do not want to slide off the sides of the pyramid, because there will be deadly sand if you do so. Oh my goodness. Playing things a little fast and loose here, but another star in about 60 seconds, making good progress. Star number 3, inside the ancient pyramid. Looks like we're actually going to have to, venture inside this time. Should be pretty easy though. I do want to mention, since we're blazing through these, it's really good to be making this kind of progress because the 100 coin star may very well take me, I'm not even sure how long. I will let you know, this is the second time that I have recorded this episode. The reason being, I did all of the stars except for the very last one where I saved the 100 coin star, and I got so frustrated that I couldn't continue recording. I failed the 100 coin star so many times. However, I'm coming back to it on a different day. I think it's really important to come back to challenges that you find difficult or frustrating like that. Take a break of a day or two, perhaps. Sometimes it even only takes a break of an hour, but just enough time to cool your head for challenges like that. It really, really will help you in the long run. That's what I have found. So, coming back on a different day, and I took the time to actually practice getting the 100 coin star, which I haven't done. Okay, this is a tricky jump. I have not done for any of the stages that I've accomplished so far. I've just kind of been winging the 100 coin stars. But I think from the future, the courses are getting a little bit more challenging for me, so I think it might be best to actually spend the time to do the practice, as any professional would do. Then again, calling myself a professional is pretty generous. That's also another thing I wanted to touch on since I've got a little bit before I get to the star. Something that someone mentioned. Actually, I think I'm right next to the star, so I think I'll save it for starting in the next episode. No, actually, I'm still rather far away from the goal. I don't exactly remember the layout of the inside of the pyramid because, like I said, it was a couple of days ago that I ended up doing this, due to aforementioned frustrations. The star is slightly up ahead. Swampy Boy is going to try to prevent us from getting there. I'm just going to jump over him, though, since there's so much room. Much less of a threat when there's no ceiling between him and the ground, to prevent you from doing that. So grab this, and then I get to move on to a fun topic of conversation. Star number 4, stand tall on the 4 pillars. I also completely failed to mention that we've managed to pass a halfway point in number of stars. Halfway to 120, the aforementioned goal, which I think is really, 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 really exciting, actually. I wasn't expecting to be able to make such progress in so many days, and I've managed so far to actually maintain my goal of keeping the episodes under 25 minutes. Or at least I think I was close on one of them. It might have been 25 minutes and some seconds, though I might be misremembering that time code now that I'm thinking about it. But I'm fairly happy with how this is turning out so far, and I'm glad that I've gotten the amount of audience engagement that I have, and I'm glad that I've gotten the advice that I've gotten, namely such that I've had 3 people to date tell me that I need to stop being so hard on myself when I'm making mistakes in the game, and I wanted to say that that is something that I'm going to work on. I was almost going to apologize for it, and then I realized that's kind of in the same vein of, you know, you gotta just take these things in stride sometimes. I think everyone makes mistakes, and it's important not to be too harsh on yourself for it. It really can lead to some negative general feelings about your self-image, and so I think it's something to work on, not only in the videos. I think that would make them much more enjoyable, but in my personal life as well. Oh man, this guy got handsy with us as soon as we walked on him. Who walk here? Who break seal? Wake ancient ones? We no like light. Rumble. We no like intruders. Now battle. Hand to hand. I have absolutely no idea what this boss is named. However, I do know that he was trying to push me off the edge there, which was really quite spooky. I've never actually died to this boss before, so let's not make now the very first time, why don't we? It's actually quite easy. All you gotta do is punch him in the eyeballs. Which, actually, now that it's mentioned, this is a recurring boss, at least a recurring boss theme in many Nintendo games. Kirby Superstar has a boss that is exactly like this. He has 2 hands that are the things that you must damage in order to actually hurt him. There's another boss that is much like this in The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker that is a boss that has eyes on his hands, which I think is a really uncomfortable concept. It always reminds me of Pan's Labyrinth, the Guillermo del Toro movie, and that movie I saw when I was way too young, and it kind of scared me, so it's kind of unpleasant to make the connection there. Grumble! What happened? We crushed like pebble. You so strong, you rule ancient pyramid for today. Now take Star of Power. We sleep darkness. Goofy stone guy. Imagine what you would sound like if your vocal cords were made of stone. I imagine it would be probably pretty rocky. Star number 5, free flying for 8 red coins, and just like we've been doing the past couple of times, not going to mix this with the 100 coin star. It's much easier not to do so, trust me on this one. So the 8 red coins in wow, I was almost going to say Lethal Lava Land, still stuck in the last stage apparently. The 8 red coins in Shifting Sand Land, see, it's because they both include land in their name, and I think that was really a mistake to do that for 2 worlds in a row like this, but in order to gather all 8 of the red coins in this stage, it would be a really good idea to don the wing cap, considering that 4 of them are going to be in the air, floating around the pyramid, as you can see. They're kind of in the corners here, and hopefully this is going to be some better red coin collecting in the sky than I displayed the very first time that I did the wing cap. That is the goal here. And if I'm good enough, you can also do a triple jump off of the pillars here, which is a really good way to be able to collect the coins. There we go. You can basically just fly into them from that sort of height. So yeah, collecting the 8 red coins in this stage is relatively peaceful when you don't have to mix it with the 100 coins. It's the 100 coins in this stage that really give me nightmares. Like, it's just that the fact that there are so many ways to instantly die in this stage. All of this black quicksand over by these squishy metal box guys that will crush you should you walk on that path and are unfortunate enough to go in front of them when they are moving. Oh, wing caps. Yeah, that was a good move to move towards the pyramid. Wing cap was about to wear off. The squishy guys over on that metal walkway, all of the dark sand that is around them is an instant death should you land in it, as well as all of the sand surrounding the pyramid here that is flowing into it is also an instant death. There's also some that is going to be near what is going to end up probably being the last red coin that I collect, which is a mistake, considering it is so close to instant death. and I will be pointing it out when we get over back towards that direction in the stage. Okay, walking up these pillars has some really wonky momentum in order to get you up them, so try to land on the top again. Okay, I wasn't pointing the control stick that far down, I didn't feel, or rather that far up in order to make me fly so far down. Alrighty, that's going to be 5. 6 is going to be in this lovely oasis right here. I'm not really sure why that came out of my mouth like that. Lovely oasis! Like I've had sand in my mouth all day. Really quite fitting for a desert level, don't you think? Okay, let's not get squished by the boxes, because that, it's actually not an instant death in this game. They changed that in... It had to have been Galaxy where the initial change would have come in, I think, because I don't believe Sunshine had any enemies that were quite so squishy as these squishy box guys. Alright, let's see if I have a good memory. I don't. Oh! I also appear to have had my hat stolen from me. This is something that can happen to Mario once the bird doesn't have the star in his clutches anymore. And this is really actually quite frustrating, because you have to bop the bird again in order to get your cap back. Just jump into him like so, and Mario will get it back. If you don't have your cap on, I believe that you take increased damage from all sources, is I believe the only negative effect of not having your cap on. The only thing is that you may think that collecting a power star and getting booted out of the level would return your cap to you no issue. This is not the case. If you leave a level without your cap, you have to actually go back into the level where you lost it and retrieve it again. So my advice is to take note of when you've actually lost it and try to get it back from the bird, and it can be a little tricky if you're wearing the wing cap at the same time. I believe that it covers your head regardless of whether you lose your hat. At least I'm assuming that is what happened to me there for me not to have noticed that it was gone for so long. Alrighty, we've got the last red coin here, right next to an instant death sand pit, so I'm going to tiptoe very carefully, because if you turn the camera like so, you can notice that just to the left of the red coin is a plane that is not safe for Mario to walk on. As soon as you start walking on that, he's going to start sliding towards the instant death. It's a really mean trick, honestly. I think that red coin is particularly rude of them to have put there, but thankfully we've gotten all 8 of them, can grab our power star, and move on with our lives, thankfully. oh, come on now. This is a poor showing. And I'm going to miss the jump on top of here. It's actually very tricky. The sand dune that gives you a little bit of height to be able to backflip jump up here is really hard to distinguish. I think that's my one complaint about this stage, is that the sand dunes are extremely hard to distinguish what is a sloped area and what is flat, and so you end up sliding into the instant death even more often than in the ice stages. It's really egregious. I don't like it very much. Egregious does not even begin to cover star number 6 in Shifting Sand Land, Pyramid Puzzle, especially when you combine it with the 100 coin star like I've done here. Allow me to demonstrate. I just have to be brave and make the jump into the black sand, potentially. Giving the things a little bit more health, making them a little bit tankier, can end up making them much more... Dude controlled the shell like an absolute champion, just had absolutely... Might actually be my least favorite single individual star in the game. I'm not even sure what I was trying to say there, if I'm being perfectly honest. I just know that it came out of my mouth confused! As you can see here, after death after death after death, on the second day of attempting to record this very same episode and failing for the very same reason, today we're going to be watching the footage together as I post-commentate for the very first time in my life. Sorry if you heard me pressing my space bar to actually start the video for myself, but yeah, so collecting 100 coins in Shifting Sand Land is an absolute chore. I wasn't able to do it while talking at the same time, just splitting my focus between the two things led to so many deaths, and it got to the point where I was getting so frustrated with the game, but more so myself for being unable to just do the thing, I find that is a common thing, you know? I feel like it should just work. It should just be a simple thing, and you get it done, and it'll work. And then it doesn't work whatsoever, and it's extremely frustrating, even though all signs point to green. You should be good. You should be really, really great. But I will stop complaining now and actually get to the point of, you know, commentating the 100 coin star. The reason it's so tricky, as I mentioned before, is that this place is filled with instant death pits of the deadly death variety. As with most pits that instantly kill you, they make your day extremely, extremely sad. And they made my day sad so many times. In fact, you can actually see just the life count, Mario's tears stained to his overall from having to repeat this level so many times. It's really terrible. The trickiest part of this 100 stars is that you really want to use the shell to navigate the level in an efficient way, to be able to collect coins, as well as to stand on top of the 4 pillars to open the top of the pyramid, to collect the pyramid puzzle star that you're actually here for. The reason that I had so many failed attempts is that I would almost every single time get eaten up by a tornado and lose the shell. There's a bunch of ways that you can lose the shell. If you crash into a wall, you lose it, or a slope that's too high that doesn't look like a wall, but is actually a wall, because it's a slope that has too high of an incline for you to climb. Happened to me a couple of times. It was really frustrating on the first day. Crashing into these areas with the squishy guys is instant death, because you fall in the black sand. See, this is the only good run I was able to get because I was actually focusing on the game and not talking at the same time. I was able to pull off all of these tricky moves. I guarantee that if I was trying to do this while playing the footage that you're seeing, it wouldn't have been... I would have died 3 times already doing this. It's really, really hilariously bad, but I'm really glad that I was able to finally get it accomplished on the other hand, because that means that after I'm done recording this post-commentary, I can actually move on. I'm using this as a little bit of a warm-up so that I can get ready for doing course number 9, which is going to be a really exciting time. I figured out how I'm going to do that, and the following stars. The following stars after we tackle course number 9. It's going to be really, really exciting. Hope you guys are excited for that as I am in the next couple of parts. It's actually a unique experience doing a post-commentary like this. Oh, as I mentioned before, I had never done one of these before, so I had made videos and uploaded them on the very channel that you're watching right now. I mentioned that in the very first part. Part of that was I basically could never dedicate myself to do post-commentary. I was so stuck on live commentary being the only way to do it. It is the only way you're allowed to do things. I find that when I was younger, I had a lot of these really hardline rules that were, like, ingrained in me for whatever reason, and they're not really based in any actual, like, reasoning. There's no reason to believe that you can't do post-commentary, especially in a situation like this. This is where it is a useful tool for you to use. I think that, I'm I guess I kind of sound a little bit hippie-ish here, but I think that opening your mind, bro, is pretty good. Oh, I love how the fire from the Shy Guy saved me there, by the way. That was excellent. So what you want to do is enter the pyramid with around as many coins as I had, 58 to 60. Or, I think the minimum is somewhere around 53, 54. I'll put a little pop-up on the screen when I go to edit this that tells you the minimum number of coins. Although I wouldn't recommend entering with the minimum because you'll spend a lot of time in the pyramid that is better spent collecting easier coins outside of it. So in order to collect the actual star that we're here for as well, there are a couple coins on some floating platforms, as well as in the sand stream that is falling right here. I like the sand fall. I think that's a really cool touch. And I mean, imagine being a being a first-time 3D modeler. It's your very first time using a software tool, and your boss is telling you, okay, I want a waterfall made out of sand. It's a sand fall. We're gonna put it in the desert level. Can you imagine the responsibility that is suddenly on your shoulders to create such a basic asset? I mean, I say basic like I know the first thing about 3D modeling. I really do not whatsoever. But still, I think it's really cool to think, I guess I get this from my grandma. As a kid, she always told stories about, back in the pioneer days, just imagine what they had to do. So I really like imagining the past, and when it comes to game development, it's really fun to think about, well, imagine the challenges that they had to go through using these tools for the very first time, actually innovating something. It kind of is the same as her telling me those pioneer stories. It's kind of funny how things loop back around like that. As you grow older, things that really stuck to you when you were younger resurface in cool ways. It's pretty neato. Additionally neato is finally being able to collect this 100 coin star in Shifting Sandland after it gave me so much trouble. It ate so many lives from my life meter? It's not really a meter, it's just kind of a counter. Life counter, yeah, it ate lives from my life counter. I can speak Goodum's English. And in order to collect the actual star, I should kind of stop calling it that, I feel like. In order to collect the pyramid puzzle star, to be a little bit more specific, watch me fail this jump after completing it successfully the first time. Oh wait, I was almost 100% certain that I had failed it there. I don't think that I had a successful run that made it into the pyramid and then I died. At least that I can specifically remember. Although, of course, now I'm going to be editing the death reel after I finally put this whole video together and be like, oh, dummy, you died in the pyramid right there, what are you thinking about? But in order to get the pyramid puzzle star, you have to touch 5 secret spots, very similar to the bob-omb battlefield spots in the sky that we had to touch in order to get a star to appear. Doing the same here will also cause a power star to appear, but this one's a lot more tricky. It's very difficult to see the platforms. We'll actually see once I get back up to the top of the pyramid to be able to get the one spot that I managed to miss. And also, it's really unfortunate I missed the one spot, right? Couldn't have been, It's always the little tiny failures. It's never huge, massive, well, I mean, except for all the times I died in this level. I guess those count as big old mission failures, but all that said, you have to delicately fall down these platforms in order to touch all of the secret spots that are on them. It's where the coins are. It's actually kind of cool that they use the coins as markers for where the secret spots are. Makes them a little more obvious than just making them invisible spots that you have to touch, like I've seen some ROM hacks of Mario 64 do. I almost said Mario there, like a Canadian or something. This is what happens when you talk for too long without properly swallowing and enunciating your words, which is something that I recommend doing. And this is going to be a sad occasion, if I'm remembering correctly. Trying to collect the star here, and goes right past it, falls down. I almost fell into the pit right here. My heart was beating extremely fast at this time, because the adrenaline of, oh no, I got the star, and now I might have to recut the footage even more awkwardly, and it's gonna be a bad time, but no, you just have to see me manage to trek back up to the sandfall again, where we can collect the star calmly. So that's going to be it for part number 11 of Super Mario 64. I hope you guys enjoyed this, despite me having to post-commentate the very end of this video. I'm sure it was just as enjoyable as normal, because I had fun doing this. So I hope you guys will be joining me for part number 12, where we can move into course number 9. Gonna collect another 7 power stars. Be seeing you there.